All right, joining me now. Always love when he joins the SI Media podcast. He's been on a bunch of times, and he is a WWE champion and now part of Good Morning Football. So there's a lot to talk about. He is Seth freaking Rollins. Seth, how's it going?
What's going on, brother? Thanks for having me. Yeah, I am. I'm an NFL employee and a WWE employee. Just a kid from Iowa living the dream, you know.
Yeah, seriously. Well, it's good to see you smiling, given the state of the Bears, which we will get into.
Oof,
And we got to
oof.
and we got to get into Good Morning Football. We also have to tell everyone Wrestlepalooza is this Saturday, September 20th, 7:00. And no Peacock. You got to watch it on the ESPN app, ESPN Unlimited, this Saturday, 7:00 for Wrestlepalooza. Seth and his wife, Becky Lynch, against CM Punk and his wife, AJ Lee. So we have to get into all of that. But I need to start first with the knee injury that wasn't. And I always like to be brutally honest with my listeners. I don't try to play games. So I'm going to give you full disclosure here, pull back the curtain a little. I tried very hard to do this pod with Seth and his new colleague, Kyle Brandt, who's a good friend of the program, together, since they're working together now at Good Morning Football. And Kyle's always on the pod and he's great. So I thought it'd be fun to do it together. But everyone has crazy schedules. Seth, obviously, he's got this little wrestling thing going on, so he can't just be focused on Good Morning Football. And Kyle does a million things during the football season. So unfortunately, we worked for a couple of weeks to make it happen, but scheduling didn't allow it. But I really wanted to confront you and Kyle together to say, there's a part of me that loves you guys, but I also think both of you are kind of dicks because I fell for both your injuries, hook, line, and sinker.
I'll give Kyle credit. He pulled the ruse of the century on the guy who pulled the ruse on the century. Right. I was fully on board with his childhood dodgeball story, where he took his kid out and got hurt in the process. He did a very good job with it. Very good job. Right. Production meeting, the whole thing. It was a thorough operation.
Oh, right. I want to get into that, but I just have to say, so when you had your injury, using the air quotes for people on YouTube, I sent you a message on Instagram, you liked it, whatever. And then when Kyle had his quote unquote injury, I texted him and Kyle's like, yeah, it sucks getting old. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea. It just keeps getting worse. So I felt like the biggest asshole in the world, thanks to the two of you. But
you don't need us for that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you guys, I want to get into sort of how you pulled it off a little bit, but I will say this to give myself a little bit of credit and to give you credit, because here's what was really brilliant about what you did. It sort of was like, if you were one of those people who maybe thought it was a work, and I'm sure you guys hate when people like me use that phrase, so I apologize. We couldn't be vocal. Like, I didn't want to go on Twitter and say, I don't think it's a legit injury, because then, God forbid it is, you look like the biggest dick mocking an injury. Like, you're never supposed to, mock an athlete injury. So we were sort of like also pigeonholed in that, we had to toe a line and not cross it and say like, oh, I think, this isn't legit. And then all of a sudden now you do have a knee injury and you're out, 3 months and you can't hold your daughter. And then we look like schmucks for doing that.
Sure.
So, but I
get it. Tough line to walk, but that was, I think that was part of the appeal for me, was that I knew it was going to be a gray area. And, in our industry, that's all you need. You just need a little bit of room, a little question in the back of people's mind that I don't know the answer. I can't predict what's happening here. And as long as you have that, that's what makes the magic in our industry. So we had that in spades.
And it also seems like the hardest thing to do in your industry these days.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, with we're living the age of information. Everybody's got inside sources. The inside sources want to tell everybody, whether it's for money or power or whatever it is, so it is very difficult to keep a good secret in our industry. And I was very happy with the way this turned out. So we kept a pretty tight ship on this thing. Few people were aware, but yeah, it was nice.
How many people total knew, do you think?
I don't know. You probably count on two hands.
I have to say, I did. Again, I couldn't go on Twitter with it. So I did text someone, Richard Deitch, who you might know from The Athletic. You've been on his podcast. I did text him that I was fully convinced it was a work when Becky posted the video of you and your daughter sort of skipping down the street. I texted him, I said, this is a work. I can't put it on Twitter. He's like, what's the payoff? I said, the payoff would be SummerSlam. So I was right, but I couldn't publicly be right, which killed me. So good job by you all. Whose idea was that?
You know, I'm not exactly sure where it was hatched. It was presented to me, you know, in advance, quite some time in our business. It was a few weeks. And I thought the idea was brilliant when I first heard it. Obviously, the execution was going to be important and the details were going to need to be ironed out. But I felt the crux of the idea was brilliant. And you know, I was the guy to be able to pull that off. So I was very excited at the prospect of it. You know, my level of commitment to our industry is second to none, I would say. So I was the guy for the job. I did not anticipate how annoying it would be to have to crush around the city for a few weeks, though. That was an unexpected part of it. That was pretty obnoxious.
I was going to say, like, scale from like 1 to 100. How difficult was it to pull off?
1 to 100. I mean, gosh, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm a professional, so I feel like I can do anything. And like I said, all you need in our industry is a little shred of doubt, just a tiny bit of mystery, and you get the magic. And so, I thought as soon as, you know, Saturday night's main event went off the air, you know, you saw everybody asking questions, and I was like, oh, we're in, you know, that's it. It's over. So I don't know that it was too difficult. I think people maybe think they're smarter than they are sometimes.
Was there an instance or one specific person or people who had reached out with like massive sadness and condolences, and you felt like a tinge of guilt lying to that person?
No, I didn't feel guilt. I let my wife take all the guilt.
Oh yeah.
She's got that Irish guilt anyway. She feels guilty about everything. Like she steps on an ant and she feels like she's going to hell. I'm like, it's a business. If someone did this to me, I wouldn't feel bad in the slightest. You know what I mean? I totally would get it. So even my closest friends, I think I was maybe John Cena. Maybe John Cena.
Oh, really? Okay. So John gave you like a little hang in there. Sorry about the injury.
Yeah, John reached out, and you know, I had to do my best to wiggle around it. But again, John and I are cut from the same cloth. So when John, you know, saw the final outcome, he was very happy.
Right. Of course,
proud in a way. Yeah. So I think, you know, at the end of the day, it all works itself out.
Hey, it's show business, baby. That's what it is. Yeah, that's okay. I feel better that you lied to Cena too. Okay, that's, you know.
Yeah, you John Cena. So
yeah, exactly. And Kyle, you had no idea Kyle was faking till he pulled off the sling in that moment on Good Morning Football.
That's correct. I had no clue, and I'm not even sure how many people Kyle had told. But you know, he put in the work. He went in there the day or two before with the sling, and I saw a clip of him with the sling on, and my my spidey sense went off. I was like, this could be something. But then I let it go. He was so, you know, the thing that convinced me was how miserable he was on the production call early in the morning. Like we were talking about on the show, they have this spike-o-meter thing, right? Where you spike a football and be a fake score or whatever. And, you know, he was complaining, oh, it never works. And he was so grumpy in the production meeting, like borderline mean to the producer. And I was like, geez, this injury really. And then he shows up like, you know, at the studio, and he looked like crap. He looked awful. I was like, oh God, this sucks. Because I know what it's like have to fly with a sling. It's not comfortable. So
Right. Sure.
I was like, oh man, I hope he's okay. And yeah, sure enough, sucked me right in, man. It was a great piece of business.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Well, Kyle is an actor, Days of Our Lives, so he knew how to play it.
Yeah, he's got the experience.
Yeah.
He's got the chops.
Yeah. My first text to him was like, dodgeball accident ? And he's like, yeah, man, getting old. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's a bitch, but and then I saw that was really a really smart move by Kyle to do that. So it all comes full circle for Seth Rollins. Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. This week, I'm going to lock in on the Rams at Eagles game. The Rams played in Tennessee last Sunday. They're in Philly this Sunday. I think West Coast team with that travel could be in for a little bit of a rough day defensively. So I'm going to go higher on a lot of the Eagles categories. I'm going to go higher on Jalen Hurts rushing yards. I'm going to go higher on A.J. Brown receiving yards. I think the Eagles want to get A.J. Brown going. So that's where I'm going this Sunday for my Underdog picks. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Sports Illustrated to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Sports Illustrated. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
All right, let's get into Saturday Wrestlepalooza, and then we'll talk about the NFL. I don't know how deep you want to get into the Bears, but there's a lot to talk about there.
I'm already, baby.
What is it like going into a match where your tag team partner is and I apologize for using this expression because I know it's not the expression you guys like, but your real life tag team partner, your wife, Becky Lynch. Now you guys team up against Seth Rollins and AJ Lee. What is it? Does it make things easier that your tag team partner is your wife? Does it make things a little more complicated? What is that whole thing like for you?
I mean, for me, it makes it easier. My wife is the greatest to ever do it. Sports Illustrated says it. She says it. I say it. So when you have somebody of that caliber on the other side, and her counterpart, AJ Lee, hasn't wrestled a match in 10 years, I feel like we've definitely got the advantage and the upper hand going into this match. If, we're not betting favorites in Las Vegas, it's crazy. So, I feel very good about it. And, we teamed together 6 years ago. I think we were undefeated, as a matter of fact, as a tag team. Obviously we're at a different point in our career right now, but, I think we're better than we've ever been. And so I'm pretty excited, to see kind of what it looks like in this mutation.
And then when you mentioned AJ Lee, she's been away for 10 years, you said. Is that a challenge for you guys as her opponents? Like, I don't know if there's rust or if it's are you cognizant it may take her a couple of minutes just to, get the feet wet? I'm sure it's like riding a bike. I'm sure once she's in there for a couple of minutes, it's like, it all comes back to her. But is there like a little bit, for her first match, a little feeling out process in the beginning?
Oh, I can only imagine it's going to be difficult for her. But yeah, I mean, look, we take pride in that in a sense. I think anytime you're in the ring, you want to put your best foot forward, and it doesn't matter who your opponents are. You want to make it the best possible situation. My wife and I are two of the best in the game at doing that. And so I think, it is like riding a bike in a sense, but it's also not, as 10 years is a long time. So 25 to 35, 35 to 45, a lot changes physically for you, mentally for you. And our industry is one where you're at your best when you're practicing your craft. So when you're in the mix and you're doing it every week, your wrestling brain is turned on. You've got ideas. You've got a lot of energy, and things come to you quickly. But if you've shut that part of your brain down for a long period of time, and she was out writing, doing her own thing, it's going to be very interesting to see if she can just click that right back on. I've been a part of some big returns over the past few years. This one is much different. CM Punk was, gone for a while, but he was wrestling elsewhere during that period of time. Cody Rhodes, same thing. It wasn't like these guys were taking time off and taking a vacation. Punk did, but he was active for a couple years before he came back to WWE. So, these guys had jumped back on the bike for a while, or in Cody's case, never left. AJ, it's going to be tricky, man. It's going to be very tricky, and we'll see how she manages. As you've seen over the past couple of weeks, she can hold her own on a microphone, but the bell's going to ring Saturday in Indy, and we'll let the chips fall where they may.
So, like I said, everyone could watch Seth and his wife Becky Lynch take on CM Punk and his wife AJ Lee on the ESPN app, ESPN Unlimited, this Saturday for Wrestlepalooza. I would imagine you, as a huge, huge sports fan, this partnership with ESPN, it must be pretty cool in your eyes. You probably have almost more of an appreciation for it than, maybe some of the guys and gals in the WWE who aren't as big a sports fan as yourself.
Yeah, I think so. I grew up watching SportsCenter, Eisen and Stuart Scott and, all these guys and gals who are, they were like the voices of my childhood in some ways. I would watch the 30-minute replay of SportsCenter like on repeat every morning before school. And so I think it's super cool to be a part of the ESPN family, to help kind of launch this new app and this new era of ESPN. I also think just being associated with a huge sports franchise like this really helps legitimize our art form and give it some credence a little bit. I think we've done such a great job as a company of, explaining to people who don't know what we do. Right. You see the Unreal show on Netflix. Being on Netflix in general is a huge step for us. And so this is kind of just another step in really pushing what we do into the mainstream and showing how incredible our talent is as storytellers and athletes.
And ESPN, that they are not holding back in terms of promotion. I saw SportsCenter, a 6:00 SportsCenter last week. They had Joe Tessitore in studio with Kevin Nagani to preview Wrestlepalooza. Last night, Monday Night Football, Joe Buck is reading a promo for Wrestlepalooza. Chris Fowler read a promo in the second game, in the Chargers-Raider game for Wrestlepalooza. He botched John Cena's name, which got a lot of play online, which it was interesting.
John Cena, that's you can't mess that one up. He's only the biggest movie stars in the world.
I know. Although I was, one of the all-time funniest clips was when Santino Marella called him John Cena. That was
John Cena.
If he says it that way, it's funny. And then in terms of ESPN, you said you grew up on SportsCenter. Did you have a favorite SportsCenter anchor?
I think Stuart Scott was probably my favorite. Yeah, his charisma was just through the roof. He's one of those guys that was so effortless with it too.
Yeah.
I think he'd probably be the one. I liked Olbermann was okay in his dorky little way. Dan Patrick was great. Yeah. But yeah, I think Stu is my favorite.
I know this is a really dumb question. I know you're obviously a diehard Bears fan. You're a big Cubs fan too, correct?
God bless you. No, I'm a Cardinals guy.
We went through this one. Right. We went through this. Right. Cardinals. Okay. Which is, you got to admit, that's bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Yeah,
when you're from Iowa, it feels normal because we just don't have any. We have nobody in the state to root for. So
yeah. No, I only brought it up because if you're a Cubs fan, I was going to say, I know for me, I think my favorite SportsCenter moment probably was when Dan Patrick got pranked by the fake Steve Bartman live on SportsCenter.
That's a pretty good one. That is a good one.
That was a Howard Stern prank. All right, let's go to football here. Good morning football. Let me start with this before we get to anything in terms of you being part of Good Morning Football. If you can, give me, because I'm fascinated by this stuff, on the, let's say, well, what is the plan for Good Morning Football in terms of like how often you're going to be on?
So I'm with the NFL for what I believe is 20 appearances this season from September to February.
Okay.
And that's across all their TV shows. I think primarily it'll be Good Morning Football, but there might be some Sunday game day stuff. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what.
So that's like once a week, basically.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more. We'll see how it goes.
So what I wanted to ask is, you guys, when I say you guys, I mean all of you guys in WWE, have insane schedules. And now you add this to the mix. What is like, I would love to know what a Monday through Sunday is like for you in terms of travel, when you're home, what you're, when you work in other things, like what, because I don't think people understand the complete grind that you guys go through.
Yeah, you know what? It's so hard to give you like a regular week because it all changes so much.
Okay.
Like the ideal week for me is because right now we don't really do non-televised events. So that's the biggest change in my life over the last few years is WWE has pretty much stopped doing non-televised events. We're all live on Monday, our SmackDown live on Friday, and our PLEs occasionally on Saturdays. Obviously NXT, that's a separate thing down in Florida on Tuesdays. But we don't have non-televised events. We used to have them all the time. So I'd be on the road nonstop, 300 days a year. Now with the television program live on Monday, that's pretty much like the only, flagpole like in the ground where we have to hit that every week. Yeah. But then crazy things happen. Like we end up in Chicago on a Friday for SmackDown, or we have this show in Perth coming up in October where I'll be gone for 2.5 weeks between Perth and Melbourne. We have a non-televised event, and then go to Japan for a couple of shows. So it's all over the place. Ideally, I lock in and do Monday, and then Wednesday or Thursday I'll be back home in Los Angeles. Luckily, the NFL studios where they do Good Morning Football is right down the street from my house in Inglewood by SoFi and the Forum and all that. So I can pop over there in 15 minutes in the morning, do that show, and be done before my daughter goes to school. So,
that's cool. Because over there it starts at like 6 in the morning.
5
in the morning. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's amazing. You can do that show, do a job, and be home before your daughter goes to school.
Yeah. It's not a bad gig, man. Not a bad gig. Get to go in and lament the Bears for 4 months and then come take my kid to school. It's a big win. I mean, I'm literally living the dream, getting to talk about football and getting to go perform in front of people around the world at my, dream job. So I'm extremely fortunate right now to be able to do both of these things at the same time. Kudos to WWE for allowing me to take this on as well. I'm not at the end of my career. I feel like I'm just in my prime right now, but I'm certainly closer to the end than the beginning. And so it's nice to be able to dip my toe into some other waters and see where it ends up.
Everybody knows there are things they can do to reduce monthly costs and improve their finances. But who has time to go through all of their expenses and decide what to trim? With Rocket Money crunching the numbers for you, leveling up your money game gets way easier. Listen, I talk about these streaming services all the time and how sports has gone to streaming in a massive way. All of us at one time or another have signed up for a streaming service to watch one game. Then what happens? We forget to cancel it. It becomes a monthly bill. Rocket Money can take care of all of that for you. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money shows you all of your expenses in one place, including subscriptions you forgot about. If you see a subscription you no longer want, Rocket Money will help you cancel it. Rocket Money's 5 million members have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscription, with members saving up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/SI Media today. That's rocketmoney.com/SI rocketmoney.com/SI Media. rocketmoney.com/SI Media. When your daughter goes to school, and I know she's still very young, but are her classmates aware of what her dad does for a living? No. Okay.
No clue. No,
Still too
she's
young.
4.5. They have no clue. And like LA is like its weird own little world where all these parents have, things going on. So it's almost like, we're not even a big deal. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's kind of the nice thing. They get a little anonymity in LA.
Yeah. That's a good thing for sure. All right. Tell me what attracted you to Good Morning Football? What made you want to, I mean, I know you filled in. I would assume you thoroughly enjoyed it when you filled in, but what was it a yes right away from you when they made you an offer and wanted you?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's just the idea. I love the chemistry with the crew. Obviously Kyle and I get along well, both being Bears fans. We understand what that pain is like, but Kyle gets wrestling. He gets me. And I love the energy of the show. It's a ton of fun. Obviously in LA, the proximity for me, makes it easier for me to be in studio, but man, just like Jamie and Kyle, and I've worked with Manti now, Isaiah Stanback, like all these people that I've been on the show with. I love the energy. I love the vibe. It's super low key. You could talk about football right there in LA. And look, I'm not saying like beggars can't be choosers in this sense, but like, I'm not from that world. I'm not a broadcaster. I've got no classical training. I'm not a former player. I don't have any experience on the field. I'm just like a dude that loves football that happens to have a modicum of celebrity. And so the fact that they want to have me be a part of their team, I'm so grateful for that offer and that opportunity. I will do nothing but try to put my best foot forward every single time and make this as fun as it can be for all of us. So it was a nice olive branch from the NFL to give me this opportunity. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I know for me, I love it when these shows have non-ex players on, because I feel like, and you don't want to generalize, but I feel like all the ex players are sort of the same and they're never going to fully give an honest take because they don't want to rip peers or they don't want to rip the league. I mean, what I loved about Good Morning Football, because I was there from day one, Kyle will tell you, I love that it was Peter and Kyle who didn't play. Like that had appealed to me. The ex players can get kind of boring. I don't want to generalize because a lot of them are good on TV, but I think I like the fact that you're not an NFL player or a broadcaster. That makes me more interested in hearing what you have to say. Although I guess you are going to be a little biased for the Bears. That's the only issue.
I'll tell it like it is. If they're stinking up the joint, boy, have they been stinking up the joint so far in 2025.
When do we jump ship on Caleb Williams?
Not yet. I mean, it's year 2. I think I think you got to let him get, honestly, I don't want to say this year's a wash, but like you want to see progress, I think, by the middle of the season at the end of the year, but you're really not going to get an indication of what he could look like in the system with Ben Johnson until probably next season, to be honest with you. I mean, this is his third head coach in 2 years. This is like his 4th offensive coordinator in 2 years. He got beat to hell last year. And if you just watch from last year to this year already, he looks more comfortable in the pocket. Week 1, he missed some easy throws that I think could have won the Bears a game in Chicago against Minnesota. He made some of those throws in week 2, but he made some other mistakes, a really bad interception. I think there was some arguments or some heated discussions going on the sideline there with Ben Johnson, but that's part of the process. I think he's a really good kid, clearly got all the arm talent in the world. And as he gets more comfortable, you're going to see improvement. And if you don't, then you start to think about something else. But my opinion, he's still the guy you're riding with this season and probably all of next season. After that, you make an evaluation. Do you want to extend this guy? Quarterbacks are going to have to get paid a lot of money after the rookie deal, especially a number 1 pick, or are we looking to move on?
So this Sunday, Bears at home, Cowboys come in. It's a 4:25 late window game on Fox. It'll be Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady on the call. It'll be interesting to hear what Tom has to say about Caleb Williams. Are the Bears going to get their first win this Sunday?
I mean, I hope so. Dallas's offense looks pretty good, but their defense looks very bad.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get some good, consistent drives under our belt for the offense and see what they look like. And then it's going to be a challenge for the defense. You know, you lose Jalen Johnson, it looks like, for the entire year. You know, I don't know what Kyler Gordon's status is. I don't know what TJ Edwards' status is. Getting those guys on the field and healthy would be great. But the bottom line is the defense has got to step up. They got to find a way to get pressure on Dak Prescott. And they got to find a way to minimize CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and this Dallas offense, which does appear to be quite potent with Dak fully healthy and back. So the defense, after getting routed by Detroit, I mean, if they don't come out and try to make a statement, I don't know what we're doing there. That's to me, that's been the biggest surprise of the season. The offense has sort of looked how I expected it to look. You know, a couple flashes of great drives and, you know, then some hiccups. The defense has been wildly underperforming for what I expected a Dennis Allen defense to look like with the personnel they have.
Right.
So they need to step up. That's the challenge. If they can do that at home, hopefully get a W, you know, we'll see what the rest of this year looks like.
I'm going to ask you one more NFL question to wrap it up because I know you got to run. But let me just tell everyone again, Wrestlepalooza is this Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern on the ESPN app, ESPN Unlimited. Seth, his wife, Becky Lynch against CM Punk, and his wife, AJ Lee. It was a hot topic. It died down. It went to a vote. Now it's back in the headlines again because of what happened in the Chiefs-Eagles game on Sunday. Where does Seth Rollins stand on the tush push? Should it be banned? Should it be allowed? What's your take?
It's a trash play. It should be gone. I don't agree with it. I didn't like it. I never liked it. I don't like it. I think it's full cheating. I mean, You're just grabbing your quarterback and pushing him forward, you know, and I think that should be completely outlawed in general in the game. You can't do it in the middle of the field. Like, why can you do it when it's a 1 yard play? You know what I mean? It makes no sense to me. You looked at the slow-mo from the game. You saw the guards. I mean, they were miles ahead of the snap of the ball. That's a clear penalty, you know, and that's 5 yards, and you can't run the tush push no more. You can't run a sneak. It's got to go. You got to revamp it. You got to find out how to make it a legal play, or you got to get rid of it.
It does sort of have it's like the NFL feel of, like, you know, the heel takes the brass knuckles out of the trunks and bashes the fan favorite.
It feels like a cheat code. It feels like a cheat code when anytime you have 1.5 yards, you just line up everybody and throw your quarterback forward. I mean, that's just not a football play to me.
I was always kind of neutral on it. Like, if they banned it, fine. If they kept it, fine. And Sunday, and I will say, and I had a heavy financial interest in the Eagles on Sunday. So my dog in the fight was on Philly, but on Sunday it turned me, and I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous. We got to get rid of this play.
It's gross.
It's too much.
It's a gross overstep of you're greasing the wheel. You know, you're finding a loophole. That's all it is. And so I think it's time to tighten that up. And, you know, look, you want to run a sneak and get a yard? Great. Do it on your own. Do it the right way.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I know it's a busy week. Like I said, Seth's got Wrestlepalooza this Saturday on ESPN, on the ESPN app, ESPN Unlimited, 7:00. And you can see him on the NFL Network, Good Morning Football, periodically. And we'll be waiting for the I hate football or I love football tweets on Sundays.
Seth, threads now. Get the thread of the Instagram. Yeah, I have forsaken the cesspool that is the X app. So
I admire you greatly for that decision.
Yeah, it's long gone.
Yeah, Seth, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for
having me.
Appreciate it.
Take care.